Hey there and welcome back to Tester Hub. If you're building your first Android app, picking where to store your data can feel overwhelming at times. Today, I'll walk you through two popular options that will potentially help you simplify this. Room, which keeps everything on your phone and stores the data locally, and Firestore, which stores the data in Google's cloud. In this video, you'll see simple explanations and examples based from my apps, as well as what Google Play expects when you hit publish based on your selection, being Room or Firestore. With that being said, let's get started. First up, Room. I like to think of Room as a private journal built right into your app. Whether you save something like user settings, scan histories, or notes, it goes into a small database file on your device. Here are a few reasons why Room makes a great choice for many apps. It works online all the time. Because everything lives on the phone and it's local, your app does not need internet. It runs perfectly fine in airplane mode or on a slow network. It is also very fast. Reading and writing data just takes milliseconds, even if you have thousands of entries. Safe and checked. Room checks your field names and data structure at compile time, so you can catch mistakes before the user even sees a crash. Another great reason is that Rooms handle complex queries and relationships. You can link different pieces of data together, like matching orders with customers, and run transactions that either fully succeed or fully roll back. One of the downfalls, however, for Room is that on uninstalling the app, you will lose the data. If the user deletes the app, the entire database goes with it. If you need to transfer data between installs or devices, you'll have to build an export-import feature or use Android's auto backup. For example, in one of my apps, QR Scanner, I use Room to store every scan code locally, user history as well, and every scan. Users can scroll through their entire history instantly without having to wait for a network call. Because Room is so simple to set up and fast, it's perfect for apps like this. I didn't need to create accounts for this app either for users, which is why I didn't find the cloud necessary. A couple of reasons when you might want to use Room is when your app must work completely offline, like a Note app or Settings Manager. You might need very fast local reads and writes. You want compile time safely your data between schema. You don't require sharing data between multiple devices or users. Since your data never leaves the user's phone, you usually don't have to fill out a data safety form during publishing. Also, you don't need to provide a privacy policy or delete my data link URL for publishing your app unless you add a cloud function later in the future. Now let's talk about Firestore. I like to think of Firestore as Google Stocks for your app's data. Anything you save goes up to the Google servers, and anyone with access sees the latest version instantly. Here's why Firestore can be a game changer for your app. It automatically syncs across devices. If you change something on your app on your phone, it will automatically show up on the tablet or web app right away. It's ideal for chat apps, sharing a to-do list, or collaborative tools. It also offers built-in offline cache. Even without internet, Firestore keeps a contemporary copy of your app so you could still display its recent data. Once the connection returns, it syncs back up. Another cool thing about Firestore is that it offers functions, cloud triggers with functions. You can hook Firestore to a cloud function so when your data changes, you automatically can send an email, a push notification, or you could even trigger a call, as I do on a current project that I am working on. It offers flexible data model. Instead of tables, you use collections and documents. That means you don't need to define the strict schemas up front, but you also don't get that SQL style joins. So sometimes you duplicate the data to make queries faster. What I like about Firestore is that it offers a pay-as-you-go pricing. Despite their generous tier, if you have a lot of reads and writes or large storage needs, you'll have to start paying per operation. But I do emphasize it is a very generous tier And for small to medium projects, I personally feel that it's plenty. For example, in one of the apps that I'm currently working on, I store reminders in Firestore. When a reminder is added, a cloud function picks it up and places a phone call at that scheduled time, even if the app isn't running. That real-time cross-device capability would be nearly impossible on a local database alone. So when would you want to use Firestore? Whenever you need real-time updates or share data across multiple devices or users. Whenever you want to build offline cache with automatic syncs when online. Whenever you plan to leverage cloud functions for triggers, notifications, emails, or even phone calls. Also, when you're comfortable monitoring usage to manage pay-as-you-go costs. Because you're storing user information like IDs, emails, names, in my case, phone numbers, you have to complete a data safety form in the Google Play console prior to publishing, and make a lot more declarations that you normally wouldn't if you were using Room. You also need to provide a privacy policy URL and include a delete my data URL option in your app and on the website to comply with privacy laws like GDPR and CCPA. So which database should you choose? Let's break it down with real-world scenarios and a few extra details to help you decide. You should choose Rooms if your app lives on one device. If you're building something like a unit converter, a personal journal, in my case I build a QR scanner, or if you're building a single-player app where each user only cares about their own data on that one phone. Also, if you want your app to work 100% offline, no caching hacks or grace periods, imagine a field research app or remote areas or a trip planning tool without any network at all. If you want your app to be super fast on reads and writes and you want to get it up and running with minimal setup, adding Room is as simple as a couple of annotations and you're done. However, if you are using Room, keep in mind that if a user uninstalls or clears app data, it will erase their data completely. So if you're okay with that, then select Rooms. In some cases, I have seen how users will not understand why their data has been erased, and that results sometimes in a negative review. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Not all the times, but there has been times. Room catches mistakes in your queries before you even launch the app, so you'll have fewer runtime crashes, which is also great. Now, choose Firestore if you need real-time sync across devices. As I mentioned, chat apps, collaborative to-do lists, or any features where multiple devices or multiple users need to see the same data instantly. For example, the Tester Hub app, where if you upload your app profile, anybody who creates an account will see the same data that you are seeing. That is why I selected Firestore for that app and Room for my QR scanner. Now, if you want users to never lose their data, even if they switch phones or reinstall the app, Firestore keeps a master copy in the cloud, so that's the way to go. Another great thing about Firestore is triggers. If you need triggers like sending notifications, push notifications, emails, or even phone calls when data changes, Firestore paired with cloud functions makes that seamless. So that's also a pro. Choose Firestore if you're comfortable with a bit more setup. You'll need to configure Firebase authentication, write the security rules, and keep an eye out on usage to manage cost. But in return, you get automated scaling and cross-platforms and SDK. However, you could also use a hybrid approach. You could start local and then go global. Begin with Rooms as your local cache, fast reads, writes, offline readability, and minimal setup. When you're ready to sync or cloud triggers, add Firestore as the source of truth. Use a repository pattern. Your app checks rooms first, then falls back to Firestore if data isn't available locally. On updates, write to both Rooms and Firestore so the cache stays fresh. However, doing this hybrid approach, will require more, it'll be a little more complex to set up, being that you're writing to both Firestore and Room. And that wraps it up for today's video. I hope this helped you figure out which database fits your app's needs. Whether you stick with fast, offline Room, or go full cloud with Firestore, or even a hybrid approach. If you have any questions about your own project, drop a comment below and I'll help you out. Just remember, whether you choose Room or Firestore, you also have more declarations to do on Google Play Store. It isn't a hassle, but it's something to have in mind, as it will require links on Firestore to privacy policy and delete all data for users as well. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to Tester Hub for more Android tips and tutorials. Thank you for watching. Until next time.